Well, we got the stock trailer hooked up back there, and so what's going on is my neighbor is renting my other neighbor's place, so it's actually her mom. She leases her pasture since she's retired out of the ranching business, and she this year it just works out where she doesn't have enough cows in order to properly graze her pasture, her own land, plus what she's leasing from her mom down the road here. So she used that this spring, and now I'm going to pay her back half of her lease, and I'm going to take my girls down the road over here, put them on her mom's place. So it's a short trip, pretty easy for them. We did have to wait for the weather for it to cool off. So it was like 90-something degrees earlier. I've mentioned before I don't like hauling them when it's 90 degrees. I don't like doing anything to them when it's 90 degrees. So because they can get heat stress and they can die. I actually lost a cow to that last summer. So I had them in the pens too long. It's just too hot, and I wasn't able to get them worked through fast enough, and the cow died. So that's a bad deal. Anyway, it's 79, so that's a little bit better, and there's a cold front moving in, so there's actually a nice cool breeze, and it's not like they're going very far here. So in fact, we're already almost there. But yeah, it's an excellent looking pasture out here. It's in great shape, and there's a ton of grass. I mean, a ton of grass. I'll show you guys here in a little bit. But yeah, so move the cows down the road, and well, I'll show you here in just a second. So they called this little area the triangle. We've got all our gates set up. We're going to dump them all in here until we get everybody. Look at them go. So excited. I'm going to close this now. They're going to bring another trailer. We're using their trailer. We'll have to make 4 or 5 trips total. So we'll put them in here first, and then the gate over there we're going to open, and they get to go back there, and I'll show you that when we do. Second trip. So we had thought about just walking them down the road. You guys see over there? There's my neighbor coming back. Got 2 trailers running. That's pretty nice. Anyway, we thought about just walking them down the road. We just decided there's too many pitfalls, too many places for them to get lost, basically. So open driveways, and I can put up hot wire. The cows respect hot wire, but my bulls don't know it yet. So they've never seen hot wire. So just having them, I don't know them all that well yet. I've only been out here for at this point 2 weeks. So I don't know them all that well. They're in this one, by the way. So we wanted to get them while they still had plenty of mamas to run around with, because otherwise they get cantankerous. They get gripey if there's no females around. So good that we got them here on this load, both of them. They're going to make another load, and then I think I'll have to make one more. Their trailer's just a little bit smaller than mine. It's in a lot better shape, much nicer trailer, but mine will hold a couple more cows in theirs. So 39 total with the bulls now, and two bulls, 37 cows. So yeah, I got 10 in the first trip. I think I've got 10 again, and I think they can only get 8, so I think it'll take 5 trips. But anyway, we're about halfway there. Look at them go. Oh. Once they find an open hole like that, they like to just run through it like they're getting away with something. It's kind of funny to watch them. There goes Big Papa's. Oh, look at all this grass. Amazing. So this is all going to be just great. They're very excited about it. So am I. Just realized she got left behind. It's alright. We're going to leave this gate open here for them. So, they got a pond right here. That they can get into to get a drink. And there's waters back up behind me as well. And all of this pasture, they got all these trees that they can get in for the shade. See all this good clover in here, they're going to love that. And once again, we've driven through this a few times over the last couple of days, so it's kind of smushed over. But look how thick this is. It's just awesome. All mixed in with clover. So, I mean, see, grass is up to about here on me. Give you an idea. So awesome. So this keeps it from getting wasted for her, because if the cows don't come in here and eat it, and this all seeds out, it gets too mature, then the cows just won't eat it, and so then you just have to mow it, and it's just wasted. And you can bale it, but it's mostly fescue, and so it's hard to bale good fescue. It doesn't keep very well, and they don't like it. They won't hardly eat it. So yeah, so not good enough to bale it, or just the wrong kind of grass really to bale it. If this was all just Bermuda, yeah, they'd probably just hate it. Made hay out of all this. So, but it's not. It's fescue. There's a bunch of weeds and stuff in it, but I mean, they'll eat a lot of this stuff. They're not really weeds. So, anyway, pretty awesome. So, now that you've seen all of this, go back and we'll look at some of my pastures that they just got done with. I'll show you the difference. Alrighty, so this is one of my pastures. They just came off of this, the cows that is. They've been off it for maybe a week at this point. As you can see, it's just, it's not what we have over there. That's because the cows just got done eating it all, which is fine. That's what they're supposed to do. But as opposed to over there where grass comes up to about halfway up my hip, this grass comes up to maybe the top of my boot in the tall spots, and on average, probably ankle high. So now what's cool about having this lease over here to be able to do this year is that by the time I bring the cows back, they're going to go straight across the creek, and then that pasture over there, which has been resting now for about 3 months, is going to have another probably 2 to 3 months to rest, and then I'll just put them straight over there. So that will have been rested for almost 6 months. It's going to be awesome by the time I get them over there. And then all this pasture that the cows have been in, and I need to come in here and mow this stuff that's dead, like this. If you come in here and cut that off, it'll cause the grass to grow better. And so I won't be cutting any of the actual living grass, or at least that's not the goal, just any of the taller weeds that they don't like, and then just cutting the tops off all the grass to make it grow again. This is all going to be, this will all look like that pasture over there that we just left by the time they actually get back to it. And that's going to be right as fall is setting in, and so it's going to be perfect, because I'll have that, this will all be stockpiled, is what we call that. And it's going to be, 2.5 feet tall of Bermuda and fescue and everything else that's in there. Clover's going to go crazy. And so they'll have excellent forage into the winter. And so they won't actually get back out here until probably the end of October. And then as I rotate them through, I shouldn't have to start feeding hay until like December. So pretty cool deal. That's why that's so useful, having that extra. It's about 100 acres, I think. And yeah, I mean, what a deal. It's awesome. It just happened to work out that way. And it's just my neighbor doesn't have enough cows to properly manage that much land, plus all of everything that she's got. And so she needed it earlier in the year when she had calves and everything, but they're all, the older batch or stalker calves that she had, they're all sold now. Just doesn't have the animals to manage it. And so if the grass gets ahead of you, it'll get rank. The cows don't like it. They won't eat it very well. And it starts to lose nutrition as well. So it's all about timing. There's a lot more to it than just putting the cows on grass. You got to have them on there at the right time. You got to have, of course, the right kinds of grass. And it's just management of the grass. That's the important part. That's what keeps the cows healthy. So she couldn't get cows over there to eat that, which means she would have just had to mow it, and it would have been wasted. I said that before. And that'd have been a real shame. So she was feeling bummed about it, and then thought, well, hey, if we can get my cows off of my pasture for a couple months here, then all of this, it's great pasture. It needs time, and so we'll give it time while the cows are over there, and then this is going to be amazing. This will all look very similar to what we just came off of. I have a little bit more Bermuda than fescue. Over there it's a little bit more fescue than Bermuda, but it's going to be great for the grass. It's going to give plenty of time for the roots to dig down deep and do their thing. Plenty of time to recover, to rest, and by the time the cows get out here, it's just going to be awesome. So going into spring, I shouldn't need as much feed throughout the winter. This should all come back even healthier than it did this year, and kind of get things turned around. I had kind of a rough start, which was expected, but sweet deal though. This should really help me out. So, and it helps her out because it would have just been a waste anyway. So, here's one of the cool spots about this piece of pasture I'm leasing from my neighbor. They got all these trees that they can come hang out in. Plenty of shade for them. And there's a little creek that runs right through over there. So they got water and shade. Of course, there's a pond off that way. Cows are all hanging off out this way right now. But all this in here, there's a lot of like broadleaf stuff, some Virginia creeper, and some other stuff in here. But there's also a lot of like Lesbodisa, Bermuda grass. What else am I seeing in here? Not a lot of Lesbodisa over here, actually. They got some briars and stuff, but rose bushes. Lots of them. That's this kind of tall thing there. Rose bushes. But so even when they're in here in the shade, though, there's still quite a bit of good forage for them between all the grasses and some of the broadleaves that they do eat that they like. So very cool. And they get to do it in the shade. So I bet all day today they were probably in here. I've been at work all day. Just got over here to check it out. Cool little spot though. Beautiful looking land out here. Looks great. So they actually developed a lot of this with rotational grazing. It's the same type of thing that I'm trying to do, where you use the cows to mow the grass down, and then you let the grass rest for at least like 7 weeks before you put cows back on it. So that lets the grass get nice and big and healthy. So what happens is whenever you clip the tops of the grass, right, they've got roots that are pushed down into the ground, and whenever you cut it or have a cow eat it, right, it kills off some of the smaller root structure, and it absorbs the energy out of that to regrow the top of the grass. Well, what it leaves behind is actually carbon, and that carbon comes from respiration in the plant, right? Carbon dioxide that it's absorbed out of the air. And so that's how you can turn land, just soil, regular soil, into a carbon sink. And as the grass grows, it punches the roots down and it spreads them out. Then you have the cows come by and they clip the top of it. As they piss and poop all over it, they're fertilizing the grass, so that's good for it. It kills off that micro root structure, leaves the carbon in the ground, regrows the top of the plant. Once the top of the plant starts to get mature, it punches the roots back down again. Different roots this time. So once they're dead, it just leaves them, it starts over again. So that way, every time you do that, you're taking carbon dioxide out of the air, you're using it to make grass. The cows come by and clip it, they leave that carbon in the soil, and then regrow the plant, make more roots, which is taking more carbon out of the air, and that cycle continues. So a lot of people think that animal agriculture is bad for the environment, or that we have an unhealthy carbon footprint, but it's just not the case. Every time the cows come through here, every single rotation, we're taking carbon out of the air, we're planting it in the soil, we're actually sequestering carbon in our land. So small scale animal agriculture is actually a carbon either neutral, or if we're doing it right, ultimately a carbon negative. So a lot of misconceptions out there, but don't be fooled. Animal agriculture is the way to go if you want environmentally friendly agriculture. Monocropping does the exact opposite. They let the plants grow, then they cut them all off, and then they till the field. And everything that those plants had tried to sequester in the ground gets re-released. And then you have the addition of whatever chemicals in the chemical production, the tractors that harvested it. It has its place, but monocrop agriculture is way worse for the environment than animal agriculture. So if you switch from a meat-based diet to a plant-based diet, where you're constantly eating, soy and corn and stuff like that, it's actually less environmentally friendly, because the animals are out here taking care of the grass and causing the grass to sequester carbon. So, fun fact. Getting ate by life by mosquitoes out here, so I'm gonna get on out of here. Now, don't get me wrong, there's wrong ways to do animal agriculture. big feedlots and stockyards, stuff like that. That's not ideal. It's not good for the animals. They're not going to be happy. But I mean, you know, look at these girls. They're happy as can be. This is the perfect environment for cattle. It's perfect for them. They've got so much food. I mean, I don't know if you can tell how tall this is, but it's ridiculous. I mean, I can grab it just with my hands standing here and look at all of them off this way. These ones, they're just happy as clams. Perfect environment for cattle. So if you can be good to the animals, they'll be good to the land. Animal agriculture is ultimately the best thing you can do for the land. So they'll sequester, they will cause the grass to sequester carbon in the ground. They naturally fertilize and mow and kind of till up the ground, you know, with their feet. And so everything that the grass needs to be healthy and to thrive. And, you know, again, you look at this rotational grazing. This is the result of years of that before I ever had access to it. And it's just incredible looking. And yeah, some trees and stuff. It's not ideal. They used to have goats out here that took better care of them. Take care of all the broadleaves and stuff. No more goats, but cows won't eat those, and so that's why we got to mow. And that's why ultimately I want goats to come and back up the cattle. So they'll take care of all the stuff that I don't want, and the cattle take care of the grass. And that's just the way it's supposed to work. That's the way nature works. You got animals moving along, and herd animals like this, just like, you know, buffalo back in the day before we killed them all. They'd move around and they'd eat everything, mow it down, and by the time they got back several months later, they would have had time to rest and to regrow, and it'd be plentiful again. So, yeah, just replicating what nature does to the best of our ability, even though Mother Nature's a lot smarter than we are. Humans with our big brains tend to screw things up, so if we can just get back to that natural way of farming, then it's better for the land, it's better for everything. So, and better for the animals. They live on grass. That's what they're designed to eat. So there's some grass processing machines. So each cow out here, and there's 39 of them, that includes the bulls, but they need about they need 30 pounds of dry equivalent forage per day. And so with green grass, that works out to, they need to each eat about, depending on what it is exactly, whether it's clover or, you know, lesbediza or other stuff, grass, whatever, but they need to eat approximately 60 to 70 pounds of actual wet weight grass in order just to sustain themselves. And then, you know, if they're raising calves, like a lot of these girls are now in the very early stages, but they're going to need even a little bit more, so they could be eating up to 100 pounds per day, per head of this grass. So you got to have good grass. And the best way to do that is good grazing practices and trying to mimic nature to keep the grass healthy so we can keep the cows healthy. So it can be done wrong. Stockyards, feedlots, that's not ideal. And I get that and I recognize that, but smaller, you know, groups, smaller agriculture, smaller herds on smaller pieces of land, but more people doing it. That's the answer. If you want to fix the land, you want to fix the air, you want to fix our environment, we need this to happen more often and in more places. So I think the current numbers, don't quote me on this, but roughly, like, I think it's like 1.4%, something like that, of the American population actually has any hand in producing food for the country. So I happen to be in that low percentage, whatever it is, 1%, 2%, something like that. But we need more people doing this. So, yeah. Remember where your food comes from. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.